guys, welcome back to the shop here. So I've got all of the parts laid out for our next round of upgrades, which you've already seen the heads. Basically I cleaned them, set up the springs how I wanted them, touched up one or two little spots, but they are ready to go. So that's basically the brunt of what we're doing. We're going to put bigger heads on it. We're going to put a better camshaft in it. We've got kinetic head gaskets that are a little thinner to raise the compression about 1/4 of a point. The rest of this stuff, you know, the usual, taking apart, new header gaskets, which I love these rim flex. If you follow the instructions and just retighten it after a heat cycle, they won't leak, and those things are awesome. They really have made having a vehicle with headers that you do on drag and drive and daily occasionally just not an issue. Now what's the rest of these parts? One, with this camshaft, more spring pressure. We've got an LS6 chain, and pretty excited to try this. Basically, this is a kit for milling, so that if you have the older 6.0, 5.3 blocks that don't have the two holes for a timing chain tensioner, it lets you bolt one on. So, very excited about that. Get rid of some of the slop, and then we also have a stronger chain so we won't break anything. Your usual stuff to go along with that, the cam plate, the gaskets. Now, we've had the same LS7 lifters and LS2 trays from ATK in our engine for probably 4 or 5 years. They have been awesome. They still are not making any noise, don't have any issues, but because this has more spring pressure, those have been in there forever. I got a new set that we're just going to throw in to be on the safe side, keep the old ones as a spare. So I'm going to put that in as preventive maintenance. Now, this big box that says Speedway in the little box, and this is cooling. We've got an old brass radiator in there. It's done a great job cooling, but it's seen better days. Fins are bent over, it's plugged a little bit, and it's heavy. So I'm hoping with this aluminum radiator, we can lose just a little bit of weight off the front end of the truck. The cooling will be the same, it'll look cleaner. The other thing too is both the water inlet and outlet on the same side, so I can get rid of this long hose like the factory LS trucks have. And also the cold air intake won't be setting on the actual top radiator hose getting superheated anymore, which is nice. And this other stuff's just supporting. All right, so that's the damage for one day. We had to take a little side quest to run and go get a new drag and drive trailer. So I didn't get quite as far as I wanted to, but the mess is still made. We're gonna finish pulling the rest of this down, take these heads off, and then we're gonna heat up the balancer bolt to get the NICs. And unfortunately, even though this balancer's maybe a 1.5 years old, the rubber's already coming apart. So we gotta get a new balancer, which is wonderful. But let's get started back on it. All right, so we have our new milling oil pump, 10295 with the spring that it comes with installed, which is a little higher pressure. Reason I didn't mess with that, this is stock clearance with 10W30. There wasn't an oil pressure before. I mainly just took off the old pump because while we're here and replacing all this, might as well. Be terrible to do all this work in that issue. New oil pan gasket. Oil pan was the hardest thing to get on this because it kind of sets on it because these motor mounts are worn out. So you have to jack the whole engine up, and the pickup on the trucks is super long, so it is a pain. But anyways, that's all on, all there. LS7 lifters, LS2 trays are in. Timing chain, that's an LS2 chain, so stronger, bigger, better camshaft. Our tensioner's in place. All that's awesome. So what we're getting ready to do is that guy over there. And I know it's a mess. We've been building everything. Front cover. And we're not going back. Sorry, I'm trying to find stuff here. Here. Well, anyways, there's a balancer up there from Summit that we're about to get put on. And then we're going to clean out the bores of all the cylinders again, test fit the heads, make sure there's enough P to V, and then check push rods and get this thing together. Also got to replace the starter because it was crapping out. So we've got a ton of work to do. Pretty easy. All right, so we got the ATK 6-bolt heads put on. A few notes on this one. One, they look like a very good head. Takes an LS3 intake offset rocker. As you can see, cathedral port, that LS3 rocker, perfect geometry. Takes 2 different sizes on the push rod length in this engine, which we are using a custom cam that the lobe lift is different from one to the other, but they're also different lobe families, so that might be some of it. There's about 17 thousandths difference between the intake and the exhaust on, like, if you were on perfect preload. So that being said, what we've got is we've got a Let me make sure I remember the brand. Yes, Comp 8200 3/8 80 wall push rod on the intake, and that's going to give us 86 thousandths preload. On the exhaust, we have a Manley 3/8 80 wall 8.175, and that's giving us right at 71 thousandths. So there you go on the rocker arm preloads and all that. And this is just LS7 lifters on a non-decked LQ4 block. All right, guys, as you can hear behind me, she's running. I first started up, so I'm sure we'll have leaks and other things, but she sounds bad. All right, I'm gonna flip it around and show you guys. Woo! Bum, 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 bum. Oh, she's rowdy. She said, let's play. I painted the headers. That's what the smoke's from. Not a big deal. They get up to operating temp. Picked up oil pressure really quick. I'm extremely happy about. Get this out of the way. We got good oil pressure. AFR is not bad. Now it's not tuned for this, so that's something we got to be, you know, aware of. I'm gonna get back outside, but baby, she's running. Oh, she's gonna be a bad boy. All right, so we went back to the dyno with a different cam and bigger heads and a few upgrades, and obviously by the numbers you can see, the truck really liked it. So we were very impressed with the power. All right, guys, so we're back from the tuner. It is now Tuesday. We did the tuning Monday. Truck ran great, made it a lot more power. Almost 70 wheel more, which is awesome. Should have made a little bit more than that, but honestly, we have maxed out the LSX RT intake with the long runners. So that's kind of the problem with this setup right at the moment. Still runs good, but I was hoping all we'd come back to do is change the oil from, you know, switching out parts and doing that hard run, cleaning out the oiling system. A few little things here and there. That's not the case. Fortunately, we were forced to make one more upgrade before we go. Even though I have it, I was going to let it wait, but let me turn the camera around and I'll show you real quick what we got to do. This humid tendency. Oh, there, much better. You see right here? See the green? And it's wet down the side here. The radiator is done. As you can see, it's old. We were going to replace it anyway. We ran out of time. Now we're going to have to make time before the race, which thankfully Speedway Motors offers a nice LS swap radiator. So we got to get to work on getting this fitted and together, because like I said, this is Tuesday night, tomorrow's Wednesday, and we got to be down there Saturday with this thing running, and it'd be nice to test it a little bit before then. So we're gonna rip this apart and get started. So the radiator install went smooth, cleaned up the truck a lot, got rid of all those long hoses that we had before, and just the radiator alone was worth 15 pounds. So I think in the end, with fluid and the shorter hoses, probably took 20 pounds off the nose, and does a great job of keeping the truck cool, and it was easy. Well, we made it, guys. We made it to Six Smokies. We're at Rocket City Raceway in Alabama. Huntsville, something, Alabama. Been a long trip. Got in at 2, got some rest, about 6-7 hours of sleep. Oh, look at that. And now we're here, about to make our first pass in D. We have to run D because we don't have the cage. But we made quite a bit more power on the dyno, but I have no idea what we're going to run. So may not need a cage, may need a cage, but we're just going to see what it'll do in the first run and then slow it down accordingly. Because the fastest we can go in the 8th is a 7.36. And if you look over here, there's Pete's 408 Dakota. There we go, now we're cooking. 408 Dakota, ready to go. And then there is Dan's 99 Camaro, 6-speed car, both of them built up pretty nicely. So we're just waiting in the lanes, or sorry, waiting in the pits for it to be called, and we'll see how this goes. So this was our first run at Six Smokies, and this is the fastest the truck's ever been. 6.98 at 98 point something miles an hour. Couldn't have really went any better than that. We're going to have to slow the truck down for the Six Smoky runs, which we knew that going into it, but all that hard work, changing around parts and finding more power was worth it. I can't wait to get the truck to a quarter-mile track, because this means that it might push into a high 10 with really good weather. So just keep watching our videos and we'll have that posted if that happens. Again, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing and keeping this channel going, guys.